What's going on, everybody? This is Matt with Hitmen Sports Talk here. We got episode number 6. I'm sitting here with Sean and Tommy like usual.
What's going on?
How's it going, everybody?
Just wanted to touch on new releases for this week, and just a little disclosure before we do that. We're actually pre-recording this because of the holidays. So this one, when we get to the end and we talk about our picks, it might be a little off because we did it 1 week in advance.
We're jumping out on the limb.
Yeah. So before we get into that, we'll talk about the big release for this week is NT Baseball. So we will have some breaks of that on eBay. Be sure to check that out. It's non-licensed, but if you're going to get into a non-licensed baseball break, this is probably the one you want to get into because you can get so many other old school bat knobs, old school patches like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, that kind of stuff. Plus, you can get all the rookies, and there's even prospects in there. So you can check out the prospects, some rookie autos, and of course NT. You know what comes with that. So let's check that one out on eBay, and I'll throw it over to Tommy for the whatnot breaks for the week.
Yeah, so we hopefully, as of now, we got some Donruss breaks off last week. Should have a couple more this week. Definitely looking forward to Prism starting in a week from now. Yep. Should be a lot of fun. Definitely one of the more anticipated releases. I know a lot of people have been kind of saving up a little bit of money, and I'm very excited to start breaking that. So definitely check it out on Whatnot. Those will be starting on 1/6, 1/3.
1/3, yep.
It is 1/2 right, or 1.
Yes, today's 1/2. We'll go with that.
1/2, yeah. So definitely excited for that. Appreciate everybody, and come check us out over on Whatnot.
All right. Well, we're not going to have any recap on the picks since we're doing this in advance. So we're just going to jump right into it.
Yeah, then we'll recap them in the next week's.
Yep. So we have Lions at Dallas. With this one, Dallas is at home where they're 7-0. So I'm going to take Dallas here. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Lions or golf. They're a decent team. I mean, they could be a problem maybe in the first round of the playoffs, but I don't see them doing much past there. But Dallas at home is just a completely different team compared to on the road. So I'm going to take Dallas in this one, and I don't think this game's close.
I'm going to say the game's close. I had a really tough time picking this one, and honestly, the deciding factor is just Dallas at home. I mean, Dallas at home has been lights out this year. They're 16 in a row wins now, I believe, at home. Pretty ridiculous. I've had a really bad time betting against Detroit this year, I will say that. So I wouldn't touch this game, but I'm going to take Dallas, and I think it's going to be not necessarily a shootout, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think Dallas has the ability to put up 30, but I don't think that Detroit has the ability to put up 30 on them.
So I'm going to go with both of them and also take Dallas simply for the fact that last week I took Miami to beat them. I don't think they're going to lose 2 in a row. They're also 7-0 at home. I think they get to 8-0 here. I think it'll be pretty close. I actually do think both teams can get to 30 in this one. Might not happen, but I think it's a very well possibility. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be like 33-30, something like that final. But I'm gonna go with Dallas. So the next one.
Over.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever it's gonna end up being. But we're gonna move into the next one, which is Dolphins and Ravens. So for me, I know this is in Baltimore, and the Dolphins historically or recently haven't played well in cold weather. But I am personally going with the Dolphins. I just think they're the hot team at this moment. So are the Ravens. I mean, this is clearly the game of the week, I would say. And I think that the Dolphins will pull it out at the end with a Tyreek Hill touchdown. I'm going to say 27-24 on that
one. This one here, I'm going the other way. I took the Niners to beat the Ravens, but I don't see the Ravens losing back-to-back. So I have them beating the Dolphins. Dolphins on the road. In the possibly cold weather. Right now we're still in the 50s in Maryland, but hey, it could be cold there.
30.
Yeah, exactly. It's like bipolar. But I think the cold weather, and I just the Dolphins against great teams. I mean, I did pick them to beat Dallas, but against great teams, they haven't been that good. I mean, for example, look at Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo spanked the shit out of them when they played earlier this year.
Oh, absolutely.
I actually think the Ravens do that in this one. I think this is kind of a 31-21 kind of game for me. But that's what I think. I think the Ravens are going to win. I'm going with the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the Ravens here. I think comparing this to last week, I actually like the Dolphins more than the 49ers against the Ravens. I don't know, people are going to tell me I'm an idiot, but it's the Ravens have a very strong front seven. And when it gets to that back four, I'm a little scared of their speed. Braden Stevens and Marlon Humphrey are going to have a really tough time choosing who's going to keep up with Tyreek Hill and who's going to take Jalen Waddle. I do think the Ravens ultimately win this game, but I think it's more of like a pressure cooker situation where one of the teams is going to blow the other one out. I really do. I think that Sean's right where one of the teams is going to take control of the AFC in this game.
Yeah. This is for the number 1 seed, so basically.
Yeah, based off of whatever happens, no matter what happens last week, the Ravens still have the AFC in front because the Dolphins lost in week 14.
Yeah.
So it's a big week, but I think the Ravens ultimately pulled that one out because that's what they do in big situations. So I think they win that one. On to the next game is going to be Raiders at Indy. I can't say too much for the Raiders, and I just kind of like Indy at home. Indy at home with Gardner Minshew, and that home field advantage has just gone really well. So I'm going to say the Colts win that one in a pretty close game, but Aiden O'Connell is going to have a big game to win that one.
Yeah, so for that one, I also took the Colts. I just think that it's going to be a mismatch for them. It's the Colts at home. This season they've done better on the road, but it's the Raiders. So, what have they done lately? Lost. So I think that the Colts are going to probably not have too much of a problem with this one. I think they win by at least a touchdown and make the playoff push for the... could win the division. You never know. Still never know. But I think Colts take
Lawrence doesn't play this week.
Right. Or Stroud.
Yeah, or Stroud, yeah.
So.
Yeah, well,
Wow,
you know
that's
who
a
I'm
good
going
point.
to take. I'm honestly taking the Colts for multiple reasons. They played in Vegas last year. If anybody remembers, Jeff Saturday. That was his only coaching victory. And he went in there to Las Vegas and beat them. Now, I know we're fast forwarding to a year later, but Aiden O'Connell is a even worse quarterback than what the Raiders had last year. And honestly, we are upgraded over what we had because we had Matt Ryan last year, and now we have Gardner Minshew. Now, I'm not saying Gardner Minshew is going to light the world on fire, but he's definitely playing better right now than what Ryan played last year. So I think the home crowd's going to be crazy. I think O'Connell's going to make a couple mistakes, and I kind of see that game. Jonathan Taylor should be back for that one as well. I don't know. I think that one might be like a 30-14 kind of game. But
I like that.
Next, we got Pittsburgh at Seattle.
So, without knowing what happened this coming week, or this past week, should I say, at the date of this recording, I'm going to go out on a limb here and hope that the Steelers did beat the Bengals last week, and we'll get another win to maybe potentially lock up a 7th seed and then just end up losing in the first round if they do even make it. But it's going to be a tough one, honestly. It's in Seattle. Look what they just did to the Eagles yesterday with a backup. I don't know. I'm just, this is blind fandom taking the Steelers here. I really don't think that they have the team in place, but the only positive is that Pickett should be back for this game, if he doesn't play against the Bengals. So I will take the Steelers on the road. Just simply hope that the players there are going to keep playing for the Tomlin's record of not having a losing season. So, if anything, they're playing for that, I guess. So I'm going to take the Steelers in a close one, 17-14. Not many points again.
It's funny because that's exactly what I had in mind when I took the Steelers in this thing. I just don't think that Mike Tomlin has a losing season. I think that they do go out and lose. Last week I took the Bengals, but I think this week, I think Seattle's kind of an in-between team that can take their licks when it's given to them. And I think that this defense, if they come out healthy, Pickett's playing, I think that they could have a big game. So I'm going to take the Steelers to win that game, even on the road. I'm just saying a close one, like 2017, something around there.
Yeah, this one here, I had a hard time picking this one. It's Drew Lock and currently, what is it? What's his name now? Not Trubisky, but...
Rudolph is playing.
Rudolph.
Well, this game Pickett's supposed to be back by then, but now if they lose, I don't know if they'll play him or not.
Yeah, I had a hard time looking at the quarterbacks.
Tomlin's record.
Yeah.
I look at Tomlin, I look at Carroll. In my opinion, 2 future Hall of Fame coaches, I think.
Yeah.
They're both great coaches. The only reason why I went with Seattle is because they're at home, and they just pulled that massive upset over the Eagles.
Tough place to play.
With Drew Lock, and yeah, it's very hard to play there. And I don't know who's going to be the quarterback for Pittsburgh yet. I was leaning towards Pitt, but every time I pick them, they tend to lose for me. Same thing with Seattle, so really, it's just like just throwing the name out there. So I'm just going to go with Seattle and see what the hell happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with that pick. I think Seattle has their stars, right?
They do.
They definitely could have a breakout game. And,
it's just two Hall of Fame coaches. I mean,
it's
just that Seattle's a hard place to play. I mean, look what happened to the Eagles. I did not see the Eagles losing last night, but they sure as hell did.
They definitely lost the damn game.
All right, final game. Bengals at KC. I had a hard time picking this one, but I went with the team that I think has the better defense, and that's KC at home. I feel like this is very important for them to win this one. I think Browning will come in and put up some points, but I think KC finds a way to win this one. If it was Burrow, I'd be taking the Bengals, but it's not. It's Jake Browning, and I'll take Mahomes over Browning any day of the week. So I'm going with KC on that one.
I couldn't agree more. There's not a quarterback that I would really bet against in December with Mahomes unless it's Burrow. If Burrow was in this game, I think that this is one of those ones that they go out and win, and then KC gets their redemption game in the playoffs, yada, yada, yada. You can see the storyline play out, but there's no Burrow, and there is Mahomes. So I think KC comes in and maybe not blows out, but this is a statement game for them. This is right before the playoffs start. They still might be in the hunt for the number one seed. And, Mahomes doesn't go down easily. No. So I think the KC blows this one out of the water.
And we don't know how long Chase is going to be out either.
Yeah,
so that's
true too.
You can double Higgins, and now you're...
It's sounding like he was definitely out for week 15 or week 16 as we're recording this, but he might as well have been out for week 17 off of just what I'm hearing as far as fantasy goes. When you hear a couple weeks, it usually means at least 2.
Yep. But yeah, so on that note, I agree with them as well. It's Kansas City in December. What's Mahomes lost? One game?
One game.
That was the Bills.
And it was the Bills, yep.
Mm-hmm. So he's lost one game in his career in December. I don't think he's going to lose another one, especially against the Bengals. Like you said, even though, Jake Browning's been playing lights out so far, playing himself in a contract next year.
He definitely.
In my opinion. But, yeah, I think, especially it's in KC, it's just not going to happen. Bengals are going to be... the thing is that they're still in the playoff contention, too, so...
Yeah,
that might be flexed into Sunday night, Yeah. But then you also got is Dolphins Ravens Sunday night that week, or is that Monday night?
It's flexible.
Okay,
so they need.
So that's going to be the Sunday and Monday. That'll probably
be
Sunday and Monday night right there. Those two games. But anyway, going with KC on that one. So that wraps up the pick segment. Unless they have anything else to say, I'm just going to say Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully at this point, Michigan won yesterday, and they're on to the national championship. But I don't know. We should have picked them.
Who's your pick? Who's your pick?
Oh, I'm picking Michigan.
And then who else? Washington,
Alabama.
Texas.
No, we're playing Alabama.
Texas or Washington.
Texas. If I'm picking with my heart, I'm going to say it's Michigan, Texas. If I'm picking with being realistic, it's going to be Alabama, Texas.
I was just going to say, it's very hard to go against Alabama. It's like they just find a way to always win them damn playoffs. And it's Saban. Not knocking, what's his name from Michigan. But, Harbaugh. But
who will be in the NFL next year, in my
Saban,
opinion.
Right? I'm thinking, I'm going Alabama, Washington. Washington wins it all.
Okay,
I agree, 100%.
And so I'm going the opposite. I'm saying Michigan, Texas.
And I'm going with Sean. I think that I called Washington at the beginning of this. Not that I called Washington to win the national championship, but I thought that Washington had one of those offenses that just kind of looked like. Go back to 2015 Oregon. We haven't seen an offense that's kind of this productive as far as just getting to the wide receivers and productivity. And I think that Washington takes it all this year. I think that they're the come by behind team, and they beat Alabama to take it all. I think that they're going to have no problem with Texas. I'm a huge Texas fan, but Texas just does not have a secondary to match up with that team. And if Washington was an all-running team and they relied on first, second down running, I'd be scared for Washington. But they don't. They're a pass-centric team, and
I think Washington gets it.
Texas doesn't have the secondary to necessarily cover them, unfortunately.
All right, guys. Well, that'll wrap it up. And once again, Happy New Year, and we will see you next week.
Yep, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.